Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. It's actually candidate night tonight on the Pete Mezzetti Show, and with me to discuss his candidacy is Chris Aniskovich, who is running for town council in the town of Clinton.
Thank you, Peter.
Hello, Chris. How are you, my friend? Good to see you.
You too.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes.
So from what I understand is you're running for town council in the town of Clinton here in a couple of weeks. What's going on and how's the race?
So everything's going good. This will be the first seated town council. So we had a charter revision vote that occurred last election.
Right.
So the town is changing over their form of government from the Board of Selectmen, first selectman form of government, and we're changing over to a town council, town manager form of government. Okay. So in this election, there'll be 11 candidates that are running for 7 positions for the town council. And then at the point that the 7 people get seated, they'll get seated on November 19th. And then at that point, we'll start the final process of hiring the town manager, because the new seated council will have the authority to hire that town manager. And
when should that take place?
The candidates will be coming to town December 2nd and 3rd.
Yep.
And they'll be, touring the town. They'll be interviewing with us on the town council.
Okay.
And there's been meetings prior to this already with the candidates that are running for town council to kind of give them a little bit of introduction to what's going to happen and how the process is going to play out.
Absolutely.
And then we'll have the candidate bios and a little bit of a video that they put together once town council gets elected on November 5th.
Yeah.
Those 7 members will get those packages from the final candidates for town manager, so that we'll be able to look at their their bios, look at them, how they appear on camera and doing a video. And so at least we'll have a little bit of kind of background on what they are, who they are, so that when we meet with them for the selection process, it gives us a little bit more to know about them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
Because it's new.
It is
so
exciting.
This will be the first ever council
seated.
And there's a lot of good people that are running, and hopefully we'll get a group of people together that all can work together. Agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, put Clinton, in the forefront and make decisions that are best for our town.
Exactly, exactly. Tell us a little bit about your candidacy. Why did you decide to run? So
I got involved 4 years ago. I was on planning and zoning. I got elected to planning and zoning.
Yep.
So I was involved in that for the last 4 years. And always wanted to be involved in the town. Been involved in a lot of different things, sports-wise, in the town, and got involved in politics. And I don't like to call it politics. I got involved in the town because we really don't need politics in our town.
No, of course not.
So I mean, I like to say that we just got involved and enjoyed doing that, enjoyed being on the board, enjoyed being on the commission, and being involved in your town is a good thing. And then I went on to the Board Assessment of Appeals last year. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, with the new charter revisions, you can only be on one elected board and or commission in town. Okay. So what'll happen is my term was up on planning and zoning anyways. Okay. So at that point, it made it easy for me to kind of get involved and shift over to the town council forum. Okay. And it's good. Planning and zoning and a lot of the things that we worked with on there are going to be a lot of the challenges that we face on the town council.
Absolutely.
The town council and the new charter reform also gets rid of the Board of Finance.
Yes.
So the town no longer has a Board of Finance.
That's right.
So we have a finance director who will work in conjunction with the town manager. So there's a lot of things that are new and exciting, and I felt that my past history, my ability to kind of set any agendas aside and just work for the people of Clinton and doing what I feel is best for them in the town.
And from what I hear, the Board of Finance had their last meeting recently.
They did.
They did.
It's over.
Yeah.
And it's it's unfortunate for them. A lot of those people served, and again, these are all elected positions. Nobody gets paid for any of this. We all do this out of our own time, and a lot of them were kind of upset that it was their last meeting. Yeah. But I think for our town and kind of the struggles maybe that we've had in the past, this form of government I think will hopefully solve some of the problems that we've had. Because when you bring politics into a small town, sometimes it gets, it puts one person against another person, a group against another group, and those are the things that we kind of have to take out of this. And then we have to have somebody that oversees it that has no stake in any of that. So the town manager, considered to be a professional, manager of the town, and will work with the heads of the boards and commissions and with the town council, so that you're going to have an objective viewpoint on a lot of these things. So it's not somebody who can sit there and point fingers at somebody, which in towns, small towns, large towns, it happens all over.
Right.
And it looks like we were caught in the trap of that for a while. And now it's good to have something new.
Exactly. Now, as far as what's going on in town, I saw something recently that there's big news going on with the Unilever property.
There is. So the person who purchased that has been working with Unilever for probably 3 years.
Okay.
So that purchase really had nothing to do with the town.
Right.
That developer was dealing directly with Unilever on trying to come up with a happy agreement on what they could do there.
Okay.
There are some struggles there with ground cover and the wastewater management issues that they had there. So that's the reason I think a lot of it was taking so long. So in July, they ended up closing on the property. So it is an official closed property. He owns it. The developer has already come before planning and zoning once. They're asking, and we've kind of set some regulations in place so they can do a indoor recreational facility. So what he's going to be doing is putting down a turf field in about, I think it's 50 or 70,000 square feet of the building, all on the first floor. And then, going from there, there's the talk of, he's announced that he's in with a letter of intent for a local brewery to come into town and put that in there as well. So that's sort of common knowledge now that that's going to happen. And he came to a chamber meeting, so he's engaging the town. He'll be moving, he said, his offices into that building. Okay. And he's had a lot of good conversations about, kind of people that want to come into town and put things there. And so his ideal situation was that he would like to do a lot of recreational, types of properties in there, which I think would help. And so, listen, the building's been empty for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
He's come in, he's going to develop it. For our town, it's huge because at that point now we have somebody new that's going to be bringing in development into that, which then leads to more income that we can generate for the town.
Absolutely.
So it's a good thing for us on that side.
Definitely. What are also some of your accomplishments that you've done since you were on the planning and zoning?
We dealt with a lot of stuff. We dealt with the original Old Morgan site. We had a developer that came in before that kind of thing fell through, but he came before us and we dealt with that a lot. That was a big project for us. When we lost him, it was kind of a difficult thing to lose that. But again, now we have somebody new that's sort of also engaged in a contract to develop that, and hopefully that can move forward. Don't really have many updates on what's going on with that. We do know that he is there, he has a name of it, and he's looking to develop that for us as well. Oh, cool. Those are like the big ones that we have here in town. We have the old Stanley Bostitch site down on 145, which, there's always talk about that, but it's kind of a difficult, kind of plot that we can, get something in there. So, as we know, a developer came in there before and we dealt with some issues there. Town really wasn't happy with what he wanted to put there, which was a recycling plant.
That's right.
And, the people spoke, and obviously it didn't fare well.
Exactly.
So, those are the things, but you have to be open to these new developments that come in, and you have to kind of listen through. The knee-jerk reaction sometimes when somebody wants to come in and put something into your town can sometimes sour people on the town itself, because there was a lot of talk about what was going in that site, a toxic waste plant, and it just, let people come in and actually tell us what they want to put there before we start making accusations and innuendos about what is going to go there. Because it makes it difficult for a developer. And he can't, they're coming in and they're using their money and they're trying to do something. We have to be open to development because there's limited properties throughout our town that we can develop. Right. Major properties that would be able to be money-making properties for the town of Clinton, which is what we need. Right. People complain about taxes. We have a very big senior population. We need to kind of start working to try to figure out what we can do there. Because they're looking for a place. They're looking for a senior center that they can come and do activities and get together with other people, and those are important as well. So there's a lot of things that are on the plate that I think a town manager can kind of help facilitate those moving forward.
Now, how many people are going to be on the committee that hire the town manager?
So all 7 members of the town council, once they're seated, they will hire the town manager. Okay. The town manager is being vetted now by an outside search firm and also a committee that was set up by the town. So there's a town search committee, and they're working with the professional management company that's trying to hire this individual. They put it out. So there was about 45 people that submitted applications. Okay. And then that's vetted down to 18, 12, and then they're hoping that we're going to get 3 to 5 people that we consider to be finalists for that position. And then that would be the group that the 7-member council will interview, and then we'll have to come to an agreement, and it's got to be a minimum of 5 people on the council have to agree on who we're hiring. So it's kind of a super majority, not a majority.
Exactly.
So 5 of 7 have to agree. And
that obviously could happen.
We hope it happens quickly. So, and it's difficult because again, this is new for us. And so, there's a process that we're all going to have to go through. Everybody's going to have their sort of opinion on kind of what kind of individual they may want for this position. And, sometimes again, that leads to some, disagreements, some heated conversations maybe. But at the end of the day, like we said from the beginning, I mean, I've always said, it's Clinton first, and then it's, whatever issues we may have. You have to set the agendas aside and make sure that you're making a decision that will benefit the town, because that individual is going to be running our town.
Absolutely.
So you want to make sure that individual is, well-rounded and going to put those interests of the town at the forefront as well.
Exactly, and obviously the town manager's office is going to be in the town hall.
Yep, he'll be at the town hall where the old first selectman's office was, so he'll be occupying that property, that seat and desk right there. So, and it's exciting. I mean, it's exciting for the whole town, because then it's, what we hope is, a breath of fresh air that we can now, have somebody that, and the difficult part was having a 2-year term on a first selectman seat. Yeah. Because the turnover was always big. If you're always re-electing somebody new every 2 years, by the time an individual gets to a point where they're kind of get their feet on the ground and they're ready to go, terms up.
Yeah, and you're up for another election.
And it's tough.
Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
I will.
We'll be right back.
Thanks.
With newspapers and media outlets merging all over the country, communities are losing their local voice.
There's so much going on in the community that I think doesn't really, there's a lot of folks who are unaware of it. And I think things like this can bring it out into the community, and in that way kind of bring the community together.
Information to our residents is the key to good governance. And with the national media and local media not often covering us, this is an excellent opportunity for us constantly to communicate with our constituents and also to have them communicate with us.
The best outcomes will be achieved through a community-based organization that grows its operation and scale by means of locally produced programming.
All of our content is volunteer produced, so we do shows from talk shows to music shows, working with high schools.
VSC TV is committed to ensuring that the investment made to secure these powerful tools will pay great dividends in the community for many, many years.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. Sitting here with Chris Aniskovich, who's candidate running for town council in the town of Clinton. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we were talking a little bit about, in the first half, about what's going on in the town of Clinton. Let's talk about your political background and why you decided to run for council.
I mean, my background, political-wise, like I said, I got involved in planning and zoning, and it's sort of just something that I just feel that if somebody is ready to get involved and to kind of make tough decisions on things. The difficult part is always that when you're in a small town, there's a lot of opinions on what things that should be done in town, and you have to be willing to understand to listen to people. Right. You got to be able to make sure that they know that they're being heard. They want to feel like if they're talking to you, they're being heard, whether or not what they're trying to get done gets accomplished or not. Everybody can't have their way. So, I felt that, it's something I enjoy doing. I like to get involved. I like to get out there and meet people. I've been involved in coaching throughout, my time here. I've been in Clinton for 16 years. Yeah. Was a Little League coach for 8 years. Park and rec basketball. I am still currently president of Clinton Youth Football and cheerleading. So I'm still engaged in those things, and I enjoy doing it. My job is a mortgage broker. I work here in town locally, and so it's easy for me to be involved in these things, and I have the time. A lot of people just don't have the time to do it. Right. And that's the sad part, because there are good people that want to get involved, but they just don't have the time, to do that, because everybody has lives, everybody has things that they need to take care of and to do. Right. So you have to make a concerted effort to do it. And fortunately, I've been able to do that, and fortunately, I'm happy to do it. You got to take the good with the bad. Not everybody's going to like you. People say things about you, and you just got to be able to handle it. You got to be able to set that aside and know that it's not personal. you know, and you got to treat people with respect.
Absolutely. Now, who are you running with? Which?
So the 4 candidates on the Republican side are myself, Mark Richards, Carol Walter, and Dennis Donovan.
All right.
So those are the 4 that were chosen by the caucus. And all have had, you know, really done a lot of stuff in town. Dennis was on the Board of Selectmen before.
Oh, yeah.
Carol, obviously, is current Board of Selectmen member.
Yeah.
Mark Richards is a big developer in town. That's, you know, and a lot of it is, you know, gauged towards his own things. You know, not necessarily anything that he's gotten from the town.
Right.
So, you know, I think we have a good slate of people. You know, as do the Democrats. I mean, you know, these are people that have been involved in things, and you know, we have 2 unaffiliates. We have a Green Party. I think it's great.
Exactly.
I mean, you have to, you know, engaging other people to get involved is what it's all about. And I think a lot of this election will revolve around not necessarily everybody. You know, a lot of the people that I speak to are, you know, are going to vote for the people that they think will best be suited to work on the town council.
Absolutely.
And get a group of 7 people that will work together. Right. Does that necessarily mean you're always voting for, you know, all Republicans, all Democrats? I don't think it does. I think, and I'm happy about that. You know, obviously, you know, we would love to have all your running mates in there with you.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's the, you know, the people in the town of Clinton that are going to make those decisions.
That's right.
And there is a lot of talk about, you know, people that would, you know, vote for people that maybe they wouldn't have in the past or something. It's just, you know, and it's good. It's positive, and I think that's a great way to look at this election, because it's going to get the people that the town feels are going to be the 7 people that can work best together. And
in my philosophy is you vote for the person, not the party.
I've always said that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a municipal election. This isn't a state, you know, or federal election. You know, this is us right here in Clinton. Our 13,000 people and citizens that live in Clinton.
Yep.
And, you know, my party affiliation has nothing to do with how I vote. My party affiliation has to do with how I'm listed on a ballot.
Exactly.
But, you know, and I've said this on planning and zoning, I voted for things that I feel would benefit the town. You know, not my personal agenda and what I would like, because there's certainly things that I would like done that didn't pass and didn't go through. But
absolutely.
That's politics, you know, and I think that, you know, in this sort of election, you're voting for, you know, people. I mean, that's been my thing, people, not politics. And,
right.
you know, that's how I feel. I feel that at this level of, you know, elections, that's what we should worry about.
And your political signs even say that.
They do.
I know. I saw a post of one the other day, and I'm like, people. It's
important. People know.
I like it.
You know, and because you can't, if you're just tied to one group and you sit there and say, listen, this is all it's about.
Right.
You know, it doesn't tell the whole story.
No.
And you want to make sure people understand that you are flexible, that you are open, and that you don't have an agenda.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And as far as the politics side of Chris Aniskovich, you come from a political family. I
do, sort of.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it, sort of.
My brother Bill was a state senator for 14 years.
He was.
And was the head of the Republican Party for a period of time up in Hartford. And I think that's what happens once people see the name. And you know, my family's all from Brantford. When I moved back, you know, into the state, we came to Clinton, settled in Clinton. Loved the fact that it was a small town.
Oh yeah.
And when we grew up in Brantford, you know, Brantford was a small town. It isn't what it is today.
No.
I enjoy small town mentality. I enjoy the fact that you can go anywhere in town and know somebody and have a good conversation with somebody, whether it be at a grocery store, at a restaurant, or just, you know, driving in your car and being able to wave at 12 people. You know, that's important to me. It was important, you know, for how we're going to raise our family.
Exactly.
And that's why we came here. So that's, you know, what it was. And so when I got involved politically, you know, oh, you know, your family's involved in politics. Well, you know, that was on state level. And, you know, obviously he did what he did for a good extended period of time. So you see kind of what it's about, you know, and you know that, you know, the towns sometimes need good representation, because in order to get something done on a state level, you need representation on your town. So it's all about kind of who you know, and can you pick up a phone and call somebody and see what they're going to do for your town. And so that was a big part of it. So, you know, when I got involved, you know, there's a name attached to it, but, you know, again, it's at a different level. So,
so what makes you different from all the other candidates running for town council?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm different than any of them. You know, I'm hoping that a lot of them have the same kind of opinion I do.
Okay.
You know, but it's difficult because somebody, you know, you can't always, you know, determine how you're going to act when you're faced with something. So, you know, things that I've done, you know, through planning and zoning and the Board of Assessment of Appeals and being on those boards and commissions is a big part of how you kind of handle certain things. Right. And you can't get, attached to something.
No.
You need to stay separated from it and have an opinion that, be open to change, let's say, because you can't sit there and go into something and say, I know I'm going to vote yes on this, I'm going to vote no on that. You can't have that. You can't, and planning and zoning was huge on that, because there'd be plenty of things that people said you definitely need to vote yes on this, but at the end of the day, if you don't think it fits with what we're trying to do or what, as a town, we're trying to accomplish, you have to vote a certain way to make sure that that's what you're doing. You're putting the town first, you're putting the people first, and that's, going to gauge how you vote on something. And that's how I looked at the boards and commissions that I've, that I've worked on, that I've, and that I've been involved in. And that's a huge impact on why you would want to continue doing something.
Right.
Because you are there and am I any different than anybody else? No, I think we all ultimately have the same goal, which would be to put the town first. But sometimes things just, are taken a certain way, or people expect certain things from you, and you got to back away from that. So the politics of it kind of needs to go away.
Exactly.
We don't need politics in Clinton.
No, definitely.
So
definitely not. So what's going on with the charter? Last time you and I were together, we talked about
the charter. So everything's in place. So everything that was in that charter the last time is going to take effect. On the 19th of November, the town council gets seated. And when the town council gets seated, the new charter also takes effect.
Okay.
So the 19th of November is when the new charter takes effect. So up until that point, in the charter, people kind of take it lightly and don't talk about it. It's a huge impact on our town. The town charter runs our town. In a town where you have elected officials that aren't, we're here on our own will. We don't get paid, and there's some compensation that the town council will get should they get seated, when they get seated.
Right.
But for everything else, we're giving our own free time. So the town charter dictates how the town should be run. And sometimes when you get away from that and you start, you make decisions that aren't in correlation with the town charter, that could be a problem.
It could be.
So you need to, the charter is our guidance on how the town of Clinton gets run.
Right.
And that solves a lot of problems, because, there can't be any, well, I agree, I don't agree. If it's stated in our charter about how something should be handled, then we have to play by it. So it's important that, we also know that, and I'm sure the town manager is going to, know that, and that's going to be important as well. So the town manager will have that town charter. He's going to know kind of how our town is run, which is helpful. That's his guide to, what's going to go on in the town while he's here.
Exactly.
And the town council still would have a big impact on that. So the town doesn't lose its voice. That was an important thing as well. So the guidance that the town manager has is also impacted by the town council. So the town council will give guidance on certain, things that go on in the town. So it'll be an open dialogue between the town council and the town manager.
Now, how many people were on the charter review?
I believe, had 7 people.
Okay.
Again, townspeople that gave of their time, and that was a very difficult job.
Yes.
Because again, they're coming up with charter revisions to change our town form of government from obviously board of selectmen to the to the town manager form of government, and it's you got a small group of people. We all voted on it. And then the other thing in town is the word's got to get out that more people need to get involved.
Yeah.
And that's hard. Planning and zoning, we have public hearings, and it's like, we get the same group of people that want to stay involved, and it's good.
Yeah.
But we want more.
Oh, absolutely.
You'd rather have 100 people at a public hearing because you have a bigger voice. And the problem is that, you have a limited way of looking at something if you only have 10 to 15, 20 people at a public hearing, because they're going to give you their side, where there might be people that say, no, I don't want that, but we don't know that. So even though I'm off planning and zoning, that's a huge part of our town. And if there's one thing I could tell people is get out and go to the public hearings.
Exactly.
It's one night a week, and you know what? It's an hour that you'll never get back, an hour and a half you'll never get back, but it'll be the best hour and a half should you want to do things that you feel, you can't get involved in a board of a commission, but you can do and show up at a public hearing and make your voice heard.
Exactly.
Be vocal.
I was going to say like we said before, you've got a well-known name in the political field. So do I.
Yeah, your mom. Right?
I've sat through public hearings where it's been the commission she was on, me, and at the time the local reporter from the New Haven Register. Yeah. That was it. Yeah. In the whole public hearing, it's in the whole town meeting. It's like.
Well, and that's when then
Are you
look
kidding
at,
me?
Right, and then
Really?
you look at social media, and it's like there's 8,000 comments.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just like,
It's like,
instead
where
of
were these 8,000 people at this meeting?
right, because then it's easier. You want people to be heard. You want to hear people. You want to hear what they have to say, because a lot of this stuff on Facebook is just, and on social media is just, you know, who doesn't want this? Who doesn't like this? Well, come on in, listen to what somebody may be doing, and then you'll see that it's going to benefit our town.
Right. Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
Last time I checked, yeah, but what do I know?
Exactly.
What
You would hope. But
what
again,
do we know?
the demise of, you know, social media.
Exactly. We've got a little bit more time left, so before we say goodnight, tell us a little bit about, remind us about Election Day and Town Manager.
Yep, so Election Day, November 5th. Obviously, the polls open 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. The town manager, well, the town council that's seated, the ballot itself is confusing, and that's probably one of the most important things we can talk about.
I saw the ballot.
So there'll be 11 people on the ballot for a 4-year term. So you can pick up to 4 people. You don't necessarily have to vote for all 4. Right. You can vote for whoever you'd like to vote for. So the 11, you pick up to 4 people that you would vote for a 4-year term. Yep. Top 4 vote getters will get a 4-year term. The next question would be for a 2-year term. So it's not the same amount of people, so that you have to, instead of 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats, there's 3 on each party. Yep. There's also the Green Party is on that. Yep. They, for whatever reason, Jane, Scully Welch, and Leah Saunders are not on that 2-year term. Yeah. So then again, you would pick 3 people for a 2-year term. Yep. And the reason that it's staggered is that so for future elections, we're not re-electing a new town council every term. Exactly. So you have to remember that if you want to vote for an individual, you certainly can vote for an individual on a 4-year term, and that same individual on a 2-year term. The town has also sent out a paper to all the candidates who are on a 4-year and a 2-year term, stating that if we win a 4-year term, and a 2-year term, which one are we going to relinquish? So that's going to be known prior to the election. Okay. So that paperwork, I mailed my form in today. Cool. So, I'm hoping to get a 4-year term. I'd love to get a 4-year term. If not, I get a 2, we're good.
Chris Aniskovich, thanks for coming down. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Peter.
On behalf of Chris Aniskovich, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night. We'll see you next time.